Good morning. Thank you for joining me on this really cold Friday morning. I hope everybody's well. I'll wait for a few people to join. I might have to turn this around because I'm not getting no comments at the moment. So let's see. Hello, everyone. Hi, Andrea. Right, my pillow's a bit in the way, so just bear with me a minute because I'm in a different room today. Oh, that's even worse. So let's move this like that and see where we go with this. Oh, now we've got no head. We will get there. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Good morning, Nelia, Carrie. Good morning. It is very cold. This morning I come down and I wondered, well, I'd left the heating on overnight, but it was absolutely bitter. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Cayenne. Elaine. Right, can I just say before we start, spirit don't work in a way always that the people that you want to come through. Sometimes that, we're really desperate to speak to somebody and somebody else comes through. It doesn't, I can't will people to come forward. So please, appreciate that. I wish I could. If I could, I would for all of everybody, but it doesn't work like that. I have to get spirit how they come in, and unfortunately, they call the shots, and it's how they want me to work. I have to work in that way. So please, don't sit there feeling, oh, I'm so annoyed she hasn't brought mum through, she hasn't brought dad through, or whatever. I'll do my utmost to bring through who I can, and I'll try and get as many messages over in the time that we have. So please appreciate that. And we'll just get into the mood. And sometimes I'll go direct, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'm actually not getting comments up today. I'm getting the comments on the main screen. So what I'm going to have to do is have to feed some information. And please, if you recognise who it is, just say, yeah, that sounds like her, or whatever. Don't give me too much information because I don't want you to feed me. But a yes, a no, or a maybe would be good enough. And I thank you all for that. Let's see where we're going to go. Okay. But a lady's coming through and she's mentioning the name Barbara to me. So, I do feel like she would have been a grandmother. She gives me that feeling, that warm, cuddly feeling. She mentions Barbara. Now, Barbara might not be her name, but somebody connected with her. She's a cuddly grandma. Um, she's very warm. She's got this bad problem with either her back or her hip because she walks with a bit of a limp. She tells me that that's all better now, but she would have walked with a bit of a limp on the one side, and she would have walked with her one hand behind holding onto her hip. She also mentions that she did have trouble with her feet and legs, and she said that there was a lot of edema around this area. Anybody can take this lady. I'm not getting comments, so don't know why. So if you can take this lady. Well, I'm not getting comments. That's the comment. Right, I'm gone. Right, thank you. Okay, right, let's see where we're going. Hello, right. I can see the comments coming up now. I've changed over, but I can't. Hi, Caroline. Anybody can take this lady. Her name, I don't feel her name's Barbara, but or there is a Barbara connected to her. She would have been grandma, because I feel that feeling of grandma with her, the cuddly feeling and wanting to sit on her lap and watch TV or read books. And she was a cuddly grandma. She tells me she was very, very cuddly. She liked lots of cuddles. And she suffered with edema in the bottom part of her body, her legs and her feet. And she would have had a poorly hip as well. Sometimes we get this as well. This lady may be waiting for somebody to come on. Can anybody take this lady or something about? I'm going to just go on a little bit more about what she's here because Um, now, I know this lady as well, right? She's showing me cardigan, so she would have liked a cardigan because she felt the cold a lot, especially around her neck, and she liked a cardigan, and she would have wore cardigans. So I feel that's something that was very noticeable. But she liked to wear a cardigan, even in the warmer weather. She liked a cardigan. She's saying that she liked to wear a cardigan. Sounds like your gran. Oh, right. Does it state? Right. Okay. I'll carry on. I know that she said about this time of year was very, very special for her and she liked to get all the kiddies their little gifts. She said she didn't spend a great deal, but she spent what she could and she liked to have something that meant something to everybody. So she was quite careful in what she actually bought. She's saying that too. You can't take Barbara with her. Well, just listening, Kerry, because Barbara, I feel Barbara was connected with her. Right, right, yes, Christmas, significant birthday, wedding anniversary as well. Right, okay, Stacey, probably is, yeah. Right, and she's saying as well that um, okay. But she gives me the feeling that I need to cough. So I feel like she has suffered with her chest a bit as well. So I feel like her chest, she had a bit of a bad chest. I'm feeling like her lungs weren't too brilliantly. She was a bit of a breathing issue. I'll get that feeling from her. Um, I feel that as well that she was the boss in her household. She says that she liked to rule the roost. She said if without her, everything would go to pot. She needed to sort things out. She needed to be the one to make everything okay because otherwise everything would go to pot. Right, thank you, Says. So I know that she says that. She says that she liked to put everything right because without her everything wouldn't work out right. And she was really, really, really strong, like wanted to do that because that was her nature. Um she could get cross if she needed to. She tells me that. She says if she could needed to get cross, she could get cross. But she didn't like to be like that because she liked to have um that feeling that the children felt that it was always somewhere special to go. It was always a welcoming feeling. It was always uh, somewhere where they looked forward to going. And she mentions that too. She also mentions as well about December being, as you've said, she's saying about December being important. And she said December is important in a lot of ways. And she also mentions that. She also showed me, I don't know why, but she's bringing in the cones, the cones that you get outside and you look at the weather. If they're open, it's going to be nice. If it's closed, and she's mentioning about that too. So whether that's the memory of the childhood, she's saying about that too. Um, and she's saying about that. She's also mentioning about homework, that she would have been a great help with homework. She would have liked to help with homework, children's schoolwork, because she found that there was a lot of one-to-one time when she was doing that. Thank you for joining me. Sounds very much like your nan, doesn't it? So I'm going to carry on a little bit anyway. We'll see how she goes. And she's saying as well, she's also showing me a clock, Stace, as well. She's showing me a clock. So I feel like she would have moved the hands around and learnt you the time, because she's showing me that. She is a lovely lady, absolutely lovely, bubbly, cuddly, a real nan, gran feeling. And I know that I get that off her. She keeps on thanking me for coming to it, for bringing her through, and she keeps on thanking me. So I know that she was that kind of lady as well. She's very appreciating of people, and she keeps mentioning that. But okay, she's also right. She's mentioning, right. I don't know whether you've had a little bit of ups and downs with your diabetes, Stace. Have you had a little bit of ups and downs with that? Because she's saying they can't seem to get a good level. You're at a good level, and she's mentioning that. Right, okay, thank you. And I think that's why she's coming in, and she's bringing lots of healing for that. And she's also saying that you're doing well. But she did tell me to tell you that she wants you to drink more water, if that makes sense. She wants you to drink more because she doesn't feel that you drink a lot of water, and she wants you to drink more. And she said that, well, she's saying, oh, that'll flush her kidneys, that'll flush her kidneys. So I think this is how she would have been. She would have been a good advisor. She would have liked to tell you, this is what you should do, this is what, and she's saying lots of water. I know there's much love around you. I know there's a lot of love being sent to you, especially now, because she feels that something around you's been a little bit up in the air, and she sends lots of love that, and she wants you to know that she's always around you, she's always supporting you, and she's really, really proud of the lady that you've become. And with that, I'm going to leave her, love. Thank you. You're welcome. That's fine. I'm glad I brought her through for you. She's absolutely lovely. Right, let's see where we're going now. Okay. Right, so I've got a man with me now, and he steps forward and he says Bill. So I know it's either Bill or William, but he's saying he likes Bill. So I know that would have been his name. I feel that he was a father. I feel that um, there was he was a type of man that would come. You'd just look at you and you say, "Oh, he's dad," and he'd come to visit, and he'd go to the shops and he'd come to see you on his way. I feel that um, he was alone for a while. I feel like mum may have passed, or there may have been some kind of separation, but I feel that he was alone for a while. But I feel that he also tells me that sometimes he felt that it could be a nuisance just dropping in, but he didn't like to outstay his welcome. He would stay and then he'd go. He wouldn't outstay his welcome. But you you loved him coming, and you looked out and expected him to come, and you'd worry if he never come. So you always knew. But so that it's that kind of feeling, Bill. Right? Would you understand that, Charlene, that he was the type of person that would he'd just call in for a cuppa. He's saying unannounced. Right, okay. He should Okay. Right. He's also taking he's taking me now, showing me my dad, and he's taking me to I'm going to a social club. And I'm also going into the bookies. I like to have a bet, not a massive bet. I'm not a great gambler, but I like the socialising. I like the people. I like to see the people that I know in there, and I like to talk to them. They know me, and the people behind the counter know me. And I've got this little area that I go get my bread and different things, a few shops, and there's a bookies, and I want to go in there. Blankets covering me, sorry. Not a blanket, it's my pillow. I've got my thing. Is that better? Right, you run a club. But because I feel that I want to socialise. I feel that my that's me, that's my personality. I'm outgoing. I'm very kind, very soft. But at the same time, you don't want to get me angry. If you get me angry, can't see my face. Oh, this is joking it. Sorry. Right, is that better? Let me put it. Hang on, let me move that. Spirit's playing up today with me. Right, is that better, everybody? Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Right, so he's making me feel that way. He's making me feel that I want to I want to uh I want to sit and chat to people. I want to socialise, but at the same time, I'm a very private person. Although I like the social part, I'm a very private person. I keep my own business to myself. If that makes sense. Charlene says she had a bad temper. They won't mess with you. Thank you all. It's been one of them days today. Everything I was very, very, very last minute and getting on. Everything seemed to happen at the last minute, and it was like spirit was testing me. Thank you, Charlotte. Right, so I'm going to carry on talking to him. Um, okay. Right, would you understand why he keeps on showing me this piece of paper, Charlene Shaz? I can't see what's wrote on it, but he keeps on bringing this piece of paper and putting it and pointing at this piece of paper. There's something wrote on it, but I can't see what is but he keeps on telling me about this piece of paper. So I think it's something for you. Would you understand? Would you understand a letter or something like that that you've been waiting for, or something because that's important, or you received? Because he keeps on pointing down at this piece of paper. Right? Okay, thank you. Uh, I'm not supposed to know what it is, but he wants me. But he's saying to me about you need to deal with this. If that makes sense, he wants me to tell you that you need to deal with this as soon as possible. Don't leave it. Would that make sense? And he keeps on about that. I haven't gone. I'm just grabbing me a cup of tea, ladies. Right, absolutely right. Thank you. So he's on about that, and he's saying you need to deal with this as soon as possible. And I think he was that type of a person as well, that he didn't leave everything to the last minute. He dealt with things as they come, and that's what he's saying. He's saying about you being a little bit of a last minute person, and he's saying she needs to pick up the, and that's what he's saying. And that's why he's come through. He wants me to give you that kick up the, and say to you, you need to deal with this ASAP. This is what he's saying. And I think that's why he wanted to come through. Um, he's telling me that there is there's so much love for you. He's telling me that she was a good daughter, and he said she gave me a run for my money when she was when she was a child, but she was a good daughter on the whole. That's what he's saying, if that makes sense to you. Tea goes so cold in this weather, quickly. Right, thank you. But he's saying she was like any other teenager. He's mentioning that. And he's saying, you know, she had, we always could see the good in her. So I feel that he wanted to mention that too. I know there's so much love sending your way. I know that he wants you to really concentrate on getting these things that he's told you to do done. Um, he's saying don't hold out. You need to steal this now, and it's quite firm about that. So I think this is how he would have been. He would have been quite firm, and if he wanted to tell you something, you need to do something. He would have said, "Get it done," and that's what he's on about. Um, he's a lovely man, very, very respectful, very, very kind. And like you said, I don't feel like you would want to cross him. I feel a little bit off balance with him as well, so I don't know if that makes sense. If he just made me feel a little bit off balance, whether that's something to do with his passing and that, because I feel like almost like I'm going to fall over, if that makes sense. I don't know. So was there a fall or something? Did you take a fall or something, Charlene? Because I feel like I was going to fall over. I was off balance. Right, thank you. Right, so I'm going to leave Dad's love with you and get that done, what he wants you to do, because he's really determined that he wants you to get that sorted. So um, he's telling me to give you that kick up the, you know what. So I'm going to do that for him. And I'll leave Dad's love with you. And thank you so much for working with me. That's amazing. Right, let's see where we go. Um, so I've got a man coming through now. Now I know that he sounds like when he's talking to me that he sounds like he comes from Ireland, so he's Irish. He's mentioning the name Patrick. I don't know if that's his name or yeah. He's quite a big build. Um, and I know that he would have worked outdoors, and he's showing me that he a big lorry and a grabber. So I know there was something to do with him working outdoors. He's also mentioning about that. Um, He's saying about working outdoors, and he's saying about that. He's on about that to me, and he's mentioning it. And he's also saying, even in this weather, you would see him with a shirt on with rolled up sleeves, and he'd stand with his hands in his pocket, and everyone would say to him, "Oh, put a jacket on," but he didn't. And even in this weather, he would be have a shirt on. Right. There's definitely a Patrick involved, something to do with him. I know there's Patrick because he keeps on about Patrick, and he keeps on saying Paddy as well, mentioning Paddy. So whether Patrick was short, Paddy was short for Patrick or what, but he keeps on about Paddy. Right, okay, Rebecca. This is what yeah. Rebecca, I think it's you that I'm working with, if you don't mind me working with you, please. Right, because he said Taddy, so I think that was his way of saying that who he was. So thank you. Right, let's see. Would you understand that in working outdoors, that Rebecca? Would you understand that he never have ever wore a coat? There was always he never in all weathers. He was like he was immune to the cold. His body was used to it, and sometimes he would actually look like he was shivering, but he still wouldn't have a coat on. Mercy, I'm sorry, love. We don't. I'm not I'm not a future. I don't read the future. Right, okay. Thank you, Rebecca. So he mentions about being outdoors and he mentions about the cold weather, and he's saying the cold weather never bothered him. This is what he's saying. And he's saying it didn't bother him because he was outdoors first. So he's also showing me, Rebecca, I don't know whether you know, but gardening, that he was quite an, when I talk about outdoors as well, from away from work, he would also be outdoors at home and doing messing around in the garden. I feel that okay. Right. Would you understand as well that him having um like a rosy cheeks, Rebecca? Would you understand that? Rosy cheeks. And I'm getting that. Oh, right. So I'm asking him, did he have high blood pressure or something? Would you understand that? I don't know whether he did. He hasn't answered me yet, but I'm asking him, would he had high blood pressure? And he's saying, he's saying that I don't know. I didn't go to the quacks that much. If that makes sense. Right, okay. Rosy cheek. Ah, right. So that might be why you're saying about the cheeks. Lovely. Right, okay. And he's saying he didn't like going to the doctors. And he's laughing and telling me his foot could have dropped off and he wouldn't have gone if he didn't have to. He said he'd rather put a bit of rat tape around it and wrap it up yourself. That's kind of attitude. Yeah. Right. Would you understand why he's telling me to mention to you about the 50 pences? Mention to you about the 50 pences. Would that make sense? And he's showing me the 50 pences and he's looking at the 50 pences and he's asking me to mention that to you about the 50 pence. So I don't know whether, so I feel like right, okay, but I feel like, has somebody recently been checking the 50 pences to see whether, because he's saying about value, would that make sense? I know that there's been a lot of on about it lately, but he's on about the 50p's and checking them for value. Would that make sense? Lagging a little bit. Right, okay, thank you. That's what he's saying, yeah. Yeah, lovely, thank you. And he's laughing about that. He's saying, keep checking, keep checking. That's what he keeps saying. And he's getting his hand in his pocket and he's getting the 50 pences and he's looking through them as well and he's checking them. So, you know, and he's saying, okay, right. He's saying he's going to try, he said, I'm trying to leave her a lucky one. That's what he said. I'm trying to leave her a lucky one. So I feel that, right, the dad's mentioning about your luck and you've been a bit down on your luck lately. I think he's mentioning that too. I won't go into that too much, but that's what he's mentioning. He's mentioning as well that you what's he on about? Right, okay. He's on about he's on about cyberspace. He's on about somebody who's always on a gaming thing and he's saying they're in cyberspace. And he's mentioning about that somebody being in cyberspace world. So, but instead of saying, "Oh, on a computer," that's his. Oh, they're in cyberspace. That's the way he would have spoken. Right, okay. He's mentioning about that, Rebecca. He's mentioning about somebody being in cyberland. That's what he's saying. And he's on about that. They've got the head in the TV too much. He's saying. And he's saying it's not good for them, so he's mentioning that. Right, I'm going to ask him why he's come today. Okay. Right, Rebecca, do you? Oh, right, maybe. Would you understand somebody who does palm reading, Rebecca? Palm reading, or have you been to see somebody who does palm reading? Because I'm going to tell you, I shouldn't really say this, but I'm going to tell you what he's doing. He's getting my hand and he's doing that. And he's spitting on my hand and saying, read that, load of nonsense. And that's what he's doing. I don't know whether you recognise that for being like that. That's what he's doing. Right, okay. So he's on about somebody who did palm reading and that there was a load of nonsense. That's what he's saying. Okay, let's see what that's one. Okay. So I'm asking him what he wanted to come through for, and he's saying he just wants to come through and give you a big, massive cuddle and say everything's going to be okay. And he wants to just give you a big, massive cuddle. So I don't know whether things aren't going how your way at the moment, but he wants to give you this big, massive cuddle and said everything's going to be okay. Well, thank you, Rebecca. I think this is what he wants. I think you've been a little bit lost lately. Yeah, he's saying you've been a bit lost, but things are going to get better. And he's saying that he'll be around you and he's supporting you and pulling you on. And you'll be tough like your daddy. That's what he's saying. Tough like your daddy. And I'm with that. I'm going to leave you to love. He's a lovely man. Absolutely lovely. Thank you so much for working with me. What time are we? I don't know. Right, let's see where we're going. Okay, so somebody, I don't feel this lady's very old, and she's coming through and she's mentioning the name Sharon, and I'd say she might look younger. I think she was in her 40s, but she's mentioning Sharon. The lady's got longish hair to about here, shoulder length, just past the shoulders, and she's quite slim. We have got a Sharon on here as well, haven't we? Sharon, would you recognise this lady? Is this thank you. Okay, lovely. Yeah, yes, it is. It's your sister. She's come through. This is, she told me straight away, Sharon. Right, okay. Would you understand sister passing away with a cancer condition? Would you understand that, Sharon? Yes, but she's 24. But okay. So would you understand that she aged through her illness? Would you understand that? And she's saying to me, tell her I've chose to grow in spirit, if that makes sense. She was murdered. No, 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 definitely not. This lady was definitely, sorry about her, definitely a cancer condition. But stay there, Sharon, because let's see whether we can get your sister in a minute onto her. So this lady's mentioning the name Sharon. She would say, I'd say she was in her 40s, and she's got shoulder length hair, and she wears like silver framed glasses, and she's very, she wears skirts, dresses type of person, um, that kind of person. And she had cancer, right? Thank you, Rose. Would you understand the age, Rose? Would you understand that? The age? Okay. Okay. Would you understand, Cornelia, if I said to you, the glasses, okay. Right, Tanya, would you understand that you need glasses or you wear glasses yourself? Would you understand that? Why her bring, keep on doing this with these glasses? She might be on about me. Need my glasses checked, so I have trouble to read. Okay, right. Let's carry on. Let's take the glasses away a minute. Ah, right. Okay, Tanya. Right. So let's see where we're going. Let's see who we're with. I'm moving around again. Sorry. It's greater. Right. Let's see where we're going with this slide there. So I'm not going to be rude, right? But she's telling me herself that she didn't really follow fashion. Would you understand that? She didn't follow fashion. She's saying she was just quite happy in her flary skirts and her flat shoes, and she's saying, and a little car and her cardigans or jumpers. She wasn't one to follow fashion. I'm feeling kind of like, if you didn't know the lady, Jay, can you answer this phone for me, please? One moment, ladies. One moment. Um, she's giving me like, people would have seen a lot hippie type kind of thing. That if you if you looked at her, that's what you would have thought. She was that kind of person, and she liked um, unusual things. Like she's mentioning about that. She's mentioning about that she liked unusual stuff and she liked things that are different. Like she's actually taking me and telling me to. She's actually pointing at my dream catcher and saying about that, and she's saying them are the kind of things that she would have liked. And she liked no, well, um, sorry about that. Yeah, because she's saying she had her own way. She liked things her own way. She done things her own way. She didn't follow what people expected her to be. She was her own person. Right, would you understand the coughing? Would you understand that? Would it be in a lung cancer or something like that? You have a dream catcher. Would you understand that she's also mentioned about the dream catcher um, being how being hung in the wrong place? Would you understand that? And she said that you have actually spoken about moving it into the right place. It's not in the right place. She had lung cancer, thank you. She's on about it being wrong, that being hung in the wrong place. That makes sense. Okay, thank you. Right, she's mentioning that. And she's saying she wants to move it for you. She wants to get it and move it for you. That's what she's saying. She's making me, and she's laughing about that. She's saying about moving it. Um, she said, right, actually, right, she says that she does actually move the dream catcher as well. So whether you've seen that move, I think you may have. And she's saying she moves that because she wants to move it into the right place. And she's mentioning about moving it. That's what she's saying. And she's saying it always had. Decided when I wake up. There you go. That's it. She wants to move it and put it in the right place for you. So that's what she's saying. She's also mentioning about something to do about a dream book. Would you understand that? A dream book. And she's saying about the dream book, about it'll tell you different things, but take what you get from a dream as how you understand it, not what the book tells you, if that makes sense. Ah, right, that's it. So that's what she's saying. She's saying about you take what you want from your dreams and you write down what you want. She's telling me as well, also about that she feels that you've been waiting on something and it's been a long time coming, but she's saying that she's bringing that through for you, getting it to you. Does that make sense? And she's on about that, and she's saying, tell her that her dreams will come true. That's what she's saying. Yeah. There you go. Well, she's sending that through to you. She's getting that. I'm going to leave her love with you. Try and get another message in before we finish. And thank you very much for working with me, Tani. Really appreciate that. Absolutely lovely lady. Surrender. Okay. Right, so now I've got a man coming through, and the first thing I notice about this man, he smells like onions, not being rude, but he tells me that he works in, and he's showing me like a burger van, some kind of burger van. Hi, Wendy. And he's making it, and he's saying, take the notice, I always smell of onions. This is what he's saying. He says they get into your skin. He was a chef. Okay, well, let's see. I, mm, I don't, would he have had a connection to a burger van? Because I feel that this man is showing me a burger van or a hot dog van, and he's taking orders and people are queuing up. So I know, and everybody, he was everybody's friend. Your sister had one. It's definitely a man. I can't change it. Sorry, Wendy. It's definitely a male energy. Oh, okay. Thank you, Mal. Right, so this is what he's doing. So he's saying he's got his food van. He's doing what he wanted to do. Okay. Well, take what you can, ladies, from this. I haven't got long, so I'm going to have to go on with the message. Right, so this man's coming through. I'd say that he's saying 60s. He's giving me 65, right? So I don't know whether that's a door number or whether that's his age, but he's giving me 65. I know that April's important around this man, so he's mentioning April as well, and he's on about April showers, if that makes sense. So I know that he's mentioning that. He's telling me as well that he was a hard worker. He liked to provide for his family, and he didn't have much home time because he was always out and about. This is what he's saying, and he says he regrets that because he wishes he had more home time. He's I know he would have been a bit of a Jack the Lad um, in his time. Um, he's saying half a daily, that's what he's saying, and he's laughing about that. But so I know that he would have been that type of person. And he's mentioning about, okay, he's mentioning the name Carol as well. He's mentioning about Carol, and he's singing to me now, oh, Carol, I am very fool. And he's mentioning that. hold on to the 65, Mal, because you'll probably go away and you'll think about it, what it was. He's definitely singing "Oh Carol," so I don't know whether, and he's mentioning Carol, so he's going on about that too. Um, but when he sings, he wants to hold my hands and dance. So I feel that um, he was when he's saying to me with the "Oh Carol," he's saying that he likes that kind of era of music. He loved the 60s, he loved the 70s, he liked rock and roll, and he's mentioning that. And he said he couldn't dance, but he would dance. And he's on about give him a few pints and he was anybody's and he's laughing and he's saying he would have danced the night away and he said he can't dance but he danced. And he's saying that when he went to a party or something like that of something and it was a get together and it was all moody, down and miserable, he tried to be the life of the party. Opera singer. Right, okay, Mel. And he's on about that, and he's saying that he didn't like doom and gloom. He liked to cheer things up, and he liked to spice things up because that was his personality. Um, he mentions two children. I don't know whether they're his, but he mentions a boy and a girl. He keeps on saying about this boy and a girl, and he mentions them, and he's sending lots of love to them. Okay, I feel that somebody's just had a new scooter as well. He's on about a scooter. He's on about somebody having a scooter. And it's one of them ones where you've got two wheels at the front and one at the back. Uh, it's about a scooter. He keeps on showing me this scooter. Oh, right, thank you, lovely. Right. So he's mentioning about that. And he's saying he he's jokingly saying it needs a crash helmet as well. And he's on about that as well. And he's jokingly on about that. And he's saying about get crash on helmet and arm pads and everything. He said, get him the full lot, that full gear, the knee pads, everything. Right. And he's mentioning about that. Right. And he's on about the helmet and he's laughing about that. And he's saying he needs a lot. He's saying he's accident prone. He said he there's just something for him to bump into. He can bump into it. He said, I'm sure he walks around with his eyes closed. And I think that's been mentioned. But he's saying if there's something for him to walk into, he finds it. Right, and he's mentioning about that and he's laughing about that. He's an absolutely lovely man. I feel that okay. I feel that there's the reason he's come through. Right, okay. So he's saying that he wants to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas and he wants to give you lots of love and it's mentioning about the staircase. So I haven't got a clue why, about something about a staircase. Um, and he's mentioning that and he's laughing about the staircase, so whatever that means. But have you not got a staircase? Could you sign about needing a staircase? Would you understand that? Well, and he's on about that, and he's on about the staircase. He's a funny man, lovely, really warm. Um, he's sending lots of love your way, lots of kisses, and he's saying, give the kids a hug for him. And he said, and and he's telling you to dance the night away. So I feel like something's coming up or whatever. And he said, do it like he would. And he's laughing. And I'm going to leave his love with you. And we are, unfortunately, we are at time again. It does go really quickly. I am again with you on Wednesday morning if you want to join me at 10 a.m. Um, he wants you to, Mel. And I'm going to leave his love with you. Thank you. And I want everybody who's on here to understand that if you didn't get a message, that Spirit's always with you. Your loved ones are always close. And just because they haven't come to it doesn't mean they wasn't waiting to. I can only do what I can do. And I'm going to leave their love with you. And have a lovely, lovely weekend. Bye.